Good morning, everyone. Good morning and happy summer to everyone. It's good to see you guys. Thanks for coming out in the summer. We thought we might lure you with a bit of a party topic today. So I'm grateful for you guys coming out. My name is Laura Stewart. For those I haven't met, I'm the Executive Vice President at the Forsyth County Chamber of Commerce. And as part of that role, I have the pleasure of serving as our organization's staff liaison to Forsyth County's Healthcare Association. And we appreciate you guys all being a part of that entity and really being a part of our community and the care that you give. And we know that your teams are the most important component of that. So that's what we're going to focus on today. But I do want to thank a couple of other important stakeholders in giving care. The series of these practice managers roundtables are made possible by and presented by Brandywine Printing. And I wanted to introduce Derek Brooks with Brandywine Printing to come and share a few comments with you guys. And I'm grateful that Derek was able to be here today.
Pro tip from Derek. Never clap before you have a good reason to. So my name is Derek Brooks, owner of Brandywine Printing. So we work with several of y'all in here, and I'll tell you, just so you know what we do. Recently, we had a new relationship with a medical practice in the community that didn't realize their brand was being misrepresented because they had, I don't know, 5 different shades of green in their logo. So we were able to take all of that stuff into Brandywine Printing and kind of shore up their brand. So now every time you see their logo, it's the same color. So that's the kind of stuff where we can come in and help. So if you need that sort of thing, just call my shop. Earlier, I was asked for a business card, and I'm a printer, and we print business cards. We printed 500,000 business cards last year. I don't have any. Just call my shop because I've got a great staff. I've got great systems, and I am not better than any of them. So call Brandywine Printing or look us up, brandywineprinting.com, and we'd love to help you out. So I got y'all to laugh twice now, so I don't feel like I need to tell you a joke, but I will anyhow. So because that's what I generally do to get y'all to laugh. So I usually tell doctor jokes, and those are hard to find. So I'm just going to tell you one of my favorites. I'll go as quick as I can. So it's a beautiful spring morning, Sunday morning, and the preacher that's supposed to preach gets up and he says, "It's too pretty. I got to go play golf." So he plays hooky. Gets a preacher to preach for him, and he goes to play golf on Sunday morning instead of preaching. And he goes 3 counties over because he doesn't want anybody to see him. And he lines up on the first tee all by himself. It's a par 5, which means you're supposed to hit the ball 5 times to get to the hole. He lines up. He hits that ball. It hits something, bounces big, gets all the way to the green, rolls in and gets a hole-in-one on par 5, first hole of the day. He's like, this is a beautiful day. He goes, next hole, it's par 4, a little closer. Similar thing happens, gets another hole-in-one. He's like, could it get any better? So up in heaven, St. Peter's there. He looks over at God and he says, "God, why are you letting him get a hole-in-one? He's skipping church today. He's supposed to be preaching about you." God says, "Who's he going to tell?" That's it. Who's he going to tell? All right, that's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Derek. We appreciate Derek and Brandywine's investment as our presenting sponsor. We're also grateful to our healthcare hero sponsors, Central EMS and Assisted Living Locators. And we have Greg here with Assisted Living Locators. Will you guys help me thank all of these sponsors for investing in these sessions? And another investor that I would be remiss to not note today is our host location and the title sponsor of the Healthcare Association of Forsyth County. and that is our friends here at Northside Hospital. And I'm so grateful to them to allow us in this space where we can gather. But I'm grateful to you guys as an industry that you all are strongly standing in the virtual space as well. So just a reminder for everyone for housekeeping, we do have a robust virtual audience on Zoom with us right now. So when we are in discussion and Q&A, we'll have a mic. Please be sure that you use that so that those folks can hear you as well. But we are grateful to have the in-person space to be here to have breakfast. And I wanted to ask my friend at Northside, Kathy Galbraith, to come and just welcome us to their space. Thanks, Kathy.
Hey, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. I do want to brag on Derek, our sponsor for the event. You guys, he makes things so easy and he's so funny. You can go to his website. You can easily do an order online if you'd like. So just brandyoneprinting.com. Of course, yes, call them. I do use them all the time. They are great partners in the medical world. They're great partners in the school system. They are just great community partners. So if you do need them, definitely consider them. Another piece, I'm sure everybody sees construction. I am not going to be a spoiler alert. Mark your calendar, get the pen. Derek gave you guys some stuff. January 21 is the kickoff lunch. If you have not been, it is the place to be. So if you want to learn about what's going on new with Northside, January 21. Today, I do have Dr. Booker with us today. Dr. Booker, would you like to say anything about Northside today?
Well, I'm happy to be here.
We are lucky to have you. So on that note, I just want to say thank you. You guys have 3 different avenues. You've got my email, Lisa Fletcher, where are you? So you guys know Lisa. I'm sure you see some friendly reminders and excellent information in her almost weekly emails. And then of course you probably got an email from the chamber in order for you guys to be here today. We are always interested to know what topics are beneficial to you guys. So always take that moment when you see an email from me and you feel like there's something that we can help you with your practice, a topic that may help in general everybody, shoot us an email when you see it or at any time. And of course, if you guys have any challenges, with Northside, you do have Lisa and myself that we don't ever want you to be frustrated in your practice, whether you are employed or not. Always reach out to us and we'll help you navigate the challenges you may be experiencing, not just with Northside, it could be other things. So we're just here to support you guys. So thank you so much for being here this morning.
Kathy, and thanks Dr. Booker for joining us. And I am so excited for who we have joining us today as our speaker and facilitator. Today's session is being facilitated by Sarah Green. Sarah is the Director of HR and Compliance and Culture for locally owned NoFo Brew Company. Does that sound familiar to anybody? No need to raise hands. While it seems like her industry and the industry that you guys work in and day out are potentially on opposite ends of the spectrum, I think you'll find that there are a lot of similarities in what Sarah does and what many of you are tasked to do when it comes to cultivating and retaining your team members. So please join me in welcoming Sarah to the Healthcare Association.
Hi, everyone. I'm very short, so I have to adjust. Thank you so much for having me. I'm very excited to talk to you all about maintaining a healthy workplace culture. Like she was saying, I am the HR director. I also am in charge of culture and compliance. I feel like every year my title just keeps getting longer and longer. But those of you that have been to our Cumming location, that was our original location, we actually do have 2 other locations, Cleveland and Gainesville as well. So I'll kind of go into a little bit of kind of how NoFo came to be and just to give you guys a little sense of where we've been, what we're doing and the scale of the business. So today we're going to talk about healthy workplace culture, what it means, why it matters to your team, to your employees, to your organization, and then not only how NoFo established a healthy workplace culture, but then how we were able to scale it in a very rapid period of just 6 years. We have 3 locations, multiple, a couple states that we're distributing and then oversees opportunities as well. And then we also are going to dive into the impact of culture on talent retention, attraction, and then unfortunately turnover as well. So a little bit about me, just so you kind of know kind of where I'm coming from. I actually started off at Nofo Grupo as a part-time bartender back in 2019. I was one of the OG employees, one of 12, if you can believe it was that small. And I was also working full-time as a mental health therapist. So I desperately needed a break. I'm sure you guys can probably relate, being in the healthcare field. It was pretty similar. It's a very high stress environment, being in mental health, and I was burned out very quickly. So after about 3 years of doing that and working with Nofo on the side, they offered me an opportunity to kind of grow with the company, and I was very excited about it and jumped right on that. So it's a little bit about my background and how I came to be with Nofo. So to give you guys a little sense of what has been going on with Nofo, excuse me, and what kind of company we are, where we've been. So like I said, we started, our first location was in Cumming, right up the road here in 2019. And when we first opened, we were actually just a craft brewery. We didn't have spirits like we do now. And I remember opening to the public on a Friday. We only had 4 beers on the board. And by Sunday, we were down to 2. So y'all were thirsty. Not a bad problem to have when you're working in the brewing industry. But I am happy to say now that at all 3 locations, you can see more than 20 beers on our menu, as well as cocktails, except at Cleveland. And then in 2021, after a lot of begging and groveling from me personally, as well as some of my team members, the owners finally decided that they wanted to incorporate spirits into the tap room. So we introduced spirits and craft cocktails into the tap room, and we were very excited to do that. One of the reasons that Nofo came to be in the community is the 3 owners, Brian, Shannon, and Joe. Some of you may even know them. They're very involved in the community. They, essentially were just 3 friends that had a really great passion for craft beer, the industry. They loved the community that they lived in, and they wanted an opportunity to serve it in another way outside of the businesses that they were working in at the time. They raised their families in North Forsyth. This is actually how we got the name Nofo, North Forsyth. A lot of people ask that trivia question, so keep that one in your back pocket. But they wanted an opportunity to give the community of Forsyth somewhere else to gather. So we do a lot of leadership training, and one of the little nuggets that Brian loves to say is he wants to be the 3rd place for people. And if you aren't familiar with that mentality, it's essentially people have a place where they live, their home, they have a place where they go to work, sometimes school, but there's an opportunity for a community to have a 3rd place where they can gather with friends and family, have celebrations. It's just a 3rd place where you can go, you frequent all the time, it's comfortable, the atmosphere is great. So that's what we wanted to give to the communities that we serve. And personally, I may be a little biased, but I think we do a really great job with that. So we wanted to expand, and they knew at the time back in, also, I don't know if you noticed, I skipped 2020 because nothing good came out of that year. But so in 2022, they decided that they wanted to expand Nofo even further. So we established what we like to call a strategic team. We don't call it corporate, but our strategic team, our leadership team, at the time, it was just the 1 location, and we were making plans to expand. And so we were trying to decide what that looked like, how we would scale. And so that's actually when I started in my current role as Director of HR and Culture, and then the compliance came later. But in 2023, they kept me very busy. We included our 2 other locations. Cleveland was an acquisition of former Tantrum Brewing, and that opened in June of 2023. And then 2 months later in August, while we were doing this acquisition, we were also doing a full build out of our Gainesville location. So in the span, I'm not sure if any of you are in recruiting or any HR or hiring roles, but I had to hire over 30 people in 45 days by myself. So they kept me very busy. Also, not having much experience in HR before I took this role, I was still very new to it. So just trying to figure out what worked best for the industry and what I wanted in our team. So luckily, a lot of that worked out. We do have a really great team at every location. I'm so proud of them, and I'm very grateful that we've kept so many, and I'm very grateful to be part of the team as well. And then in 2024, we decided that, okay, 3 locations in North Georgia, we're taking over this region, we're doing some distribution, but it's still not enough, right? So we actually went international. If any of you are familiar with Walsall Football Club, it's in the UK. We're kind of bringing awareness, I guess, to the love of soccer. All 3 of our owners and several of our team members are obsessed with the sport. They love it. They're huge supporters of it. So we actually had an opportunity to become what we now are, the primary sponsor for their upcoming season, the Walsall Football Club. So we have our beer flowing in the UK. That still wasn't enough. So in 2025, just recently in February, we also started to invade Ireland, and now we are the primary sponsor for Drogheda United Football Club as well. So we have beer all over the place. So that's kind of where we've been and kind of how we got to where we are today. So what does NOFA look like now? Currently, we have a head count of 42 people. Starting off with 12, we've grown quite a bit. Still actually a rather small company, but compared to the industry, we are small to mid-size of an organization. But one of the little stats that I love being able to share is that our average length of service is almost 3 years. And we are just shy of our 6th anniversary. So to have our team be on the team for half of that time is pretty incredible, especially in the industry, food and beverage service, hospitality. You typically see a lot of turnover. I'm not sure if it's the same in healthcare. I'm sure, I know some struggles with hiring happen as they do with every industry, but I'm very lucky to say that we do have a lot of our original team members. 7 out of the 12 actually are still on our staff today, 5 of whom have been promoted to other roles. In fact, our entire director team, other than our director of marketing who joined our team in 2022, we all were OG taproom staff members. And then Johnny, our director of brewing and distilling operations, he was our first hire. He was our head brewer. And then head distiller until he had to replace himself to take over more responsibilities. So like I said, we have the 3 tap rooms in North Georgia. So just to give you kind of a sense of the scale of what we have done, we are in over 370 accounts in Georgia alone, which is amazing. We have 5 core beers that we distribute in 16-ounce cans, as well as several beers in kegs. And then we also recently have started distributing in Florida as well. So we're still looking to expand that footprint and get into some other states, surrounding states, and some other opportunities. And then we are actually, aside from just being in the stadiums for Walsall and Drogheda, we are also in over 100 accounts in the UK and Ireland combined. So you can find our beer in pubs in the UK, which is, I think, pretty cool for a small American craft brewery. So what is a healthy workplace culture? This is something that we're really going to dive into today. Some characteristics of a healthy workplace culture that I have come to know are really open communication, transparency, authenticity, mutual trust and respect, employee recognition, work-life balance, collaboration and teamwork, opportunity for growth and development. A lot of these things are things that people prioritize now in the job market. And it's things that I have learned from not only candidates, but also from employees and just going to speak with other HR directors and people that are in the space of recruiting. A lot of job seekers now are looking for a lot more than just compensation. We'll dive into that in a little bit more in depth. So this is actually a photo of all of our OGs last year at our 5th anniversary. We had all of our OGs come up on stage, which was slightly embarrassing. And we were given one of our rye bottle whiskeys, which has been aged for 5 years. So I think we still have some bottles available if you want to check it out after your shift. So some characteristics of a healthy culture, definitely open communication, transparency, authenticity. Those are all things that I think are really important regardless of the industry that you're in. So essentially what that means is say what you mean and mean what you say. Be authentic in your culture and be authentic in what you're trying to tell your employees that you stand for. Otherwise, they're not going to trust you. I really feel like the whole transparency and being authentic really goes hand in hand with trust and respect from employees to leadership to owners of organizations and even larger corporations as well. Direct and open communication is also really important. Brene Brown has the quote, "Clear is kind," and I take that to my grave. I used to be the person that was doing the feedback sandwich. Is anyone familiar with that technique when giving feedback? So you start with something positive and then you really get to the nitty gritty of the coaching opportunity and then you end with something positive. So that works at times, but what I've come to realize when I've been doing that myself is a lot of times, and I've personally experienced this as well, you walk into a meeting like that, you hear, "Oh, you're doing so great, you're doing a great job," and then you get to hear the actual criticism. And then it's covered so much by all the fluff and the positivity surrounding it that the employee leaves and they're just confused about what the actual expectation is. So I don't like the feedback sandwich. I like direct communication, even if it's hard to deliver at times. But if you have that mutual trust and respect with your team, they'll appreciate it. So another thing that we do is we do a lot of leadership training, and one of the books that we've read that I frequently reference is Start With Why by Simon Sinek. If you haven't read it, it's amazing. He does a lot of speaking engagements and things, and he talks about this kind of mentality of starting with the why behind your decisions. As a company and an organization, especially one that is growing very rapidly, it's very important to keep your team informed of why you're making certain decisions. So that's one thing that I definitely think is kind of setting NOFO apart. I'm sure, if you're interested in the craft beer space, you've probably seen we have had a lot of closures in Georgia specifically of craft breweries, which is very unfortunate. We're always sad to see that. But after hearing some of the experiences from those employees that have previously worked for those companies, it doesn't surprise me. They haven't had the trust with the team. They don't have the support from the team. They're not communicating directly. And unfortunately, it happens where they make decisions and everyone just kind of seems to feel like they're in the dark. And that doesn't suit well for a lot of, for your culture. So in regard to mutual trust and respect, transparency kind of just goes hand in hand with that. It's essential to build trust with your team, especially during the tough times. I've come to learn that even when we're going through these phases of economic challenges and other challenges where, we're experiencing challenges with tariffs on some of our hops and our ingredients for our product, if we're not honest with our team, then they have no idea what's going on. But if we're able to give them the transparency during the tough times, they will establish more trust with you. So one of the little things that Joe likes to say actually is trust over suspicion. So if you have that with your team, you're doing something right. So if your team is actually trusting the leadership decisions without even having to explain them, then that's a really good sign. But if they're suspicious of the decisions and they're questioning you and you're being met with a lot of adversity or just lack of collaboration from your team, then you need to kind of maybe refocus on how you're delivering decisions to your team. This is all part of making sure that your culture is actually functional and healthy. And then finally, of course, employee recognition is very important. A lot of companies do very different things to highlight their staff. One of the things that NOFO does is every quarter we send out an internal employee newsletter. I know this is very common, especially in the mental health and healthcare industry as well. But we do a staff highlight every quarter, and we usually tie it back to one of our core convictions, which I'll get into in a minute. And I always embarrass people. They hate it. But, I basically rave about them. And it's always a great time just celebrating our team, making sure that we're rewarding and reinforcing them with positive feedback as well. Also giving credit where it's due. Unfortunately, I've had roles in the past with other companies where I was giving great suggestions, and some of my ideas, were taken or adjusted and implemented, but I was given zero credit for it. And it just doesn't sit well with the team. And it goes back to trust. It goes back to transparency. If your team is winning and succeeding as a leader, then you are also succeeding. It doesn't matter where the idea came from. If it works for your company and your business, you'll thrive. And one of the most important things I think too, alongside direct communication, is following up with your team. So one thing that I really do love about NOFO and the ownership is they prioritize making sure that the team feels valued and heard, which brings back to my psychology background. When people provide suggestions and they have ideas, it's really awesome. And if you implement the idea, great. They usually will get the recognition for it. But if you don't implement the idea, or you don't think it's going to work for your company, following back up with that person and saying, hey, here is why we're not going to do this, or great idea, we're going to do it later. That has resulted in so much trust with our team specifically. And I know that a lot of people just have appreciated the fact that as a leadership team, we go back to our bartenders when they have suggestions and we say, hey, that was a really great idea to, alter this process, and this is why or why not we're going to incorporate it. So work-life balance, that's something that everyone really strives for, right? Setting boundaries with and for your team is really important. And so setting boundaries with and for your team is really important, but even more so than that, it's actually keeping the boundaries. So previously I was a mental health therapist, I was working full-time, and I had a very personal challenge with work-life balance. I would constantly take my work home with me. It was very difficult for me to step away from the phone and not pick it up when it rang. Sometimes I would even have clients call me at 2 o'clock in the morning trying to get me to talk them off a ledge. But luckily, this job isn't as high stress as that, but a work-life balance and boundaries is really important for your team. We actually have our director of marketing. She has 2 direct reports, and they've set the boundary where they like to sleep in a little bit. So they don't like any work emails or texts or anything after the hours of 9 a.m. to 6, which is fine. And after they have communicated that boundary, we don't bother them. We will schedule send emails, which has become a godsend for me. I had a baby last year, so I do my best work and thinking at 3 o'clock in the morning when I'm feeding the baby. And I schedule send all my emails because I don't think my team would appreciate getting an email notification at 3 o'clock in the morning. But so that's really important, is making sure that you're establishing boundaries and communicating them, but also making sure that you're holding yourself and your team accountable to those boundaries as well. Collaboration and teamwork. Who here has ever worked at a company where they call each other their family? Yeah, and not the best idea, and here's why. So when I first started at NOFO, that is exactly what we did. We said, oh, we're a family, we work together, we love each other, and we did. We had great camaraderie. We had a lot of friendships. We had very deep connections because we were with each other for so long. And we celebrated each other outside of work, and we went to each other's weddings, baby showers, all of the things. Well, then when I got in the leadership role and I had to make some tough decisions as an HR director, and yes, that was great. It was awesome being a part of the joy of hiring some people that I did have great friendships with. But then I had to go on the other side and I had to terminate my friends at times, or let them go, or have the tough conversations or the coaching opportunities and things like that. So Brian and Shannon, when we were at a leadership meeting, basically said, hey, we don't use the F word here. And they said, if you refer to your team as your family, then everything just gets messy. Boundaries are blurred. Things, may not be taken as well if you have to deliver feedback And I can't even tell you when I was trying to find this new just way of how I was going to lead, because it was pretty challenging with my promotion. A lot of people were excited for me, but then I had to reestablish the boundaries with the team who I was working alongside as, just a counterpart. I was a bartender like a lot of my teammates. And now I was not really their direct supervisor, but I was kind of in charge of everything, and I became the rules lady that no one wanted to talk to, which I'm still trying to remove that stigma, but it's tough. But making sure that you do not refer to your team as family is really important. So what we do instead, we call them friends. They are our friends. They are our team. Having professional boundaries and just making sure that there is a mutual understanding of we are professionals, we are colleagues, even though in my job specifically, hopefully not y'all's, but we drink beer at meetings. So it does, it's very casual for a lot of, I bet you guys wish, right? And I do want to go ahead and apologize. I do not have samples today, but I do have some goodies when you guys are done. So setting the boundaries is really important with teams and making sure that they understand that we're not going to cross any lines. We also have a nepotism policy. If you guys don't already have that, I'm sure many of you do, but that has saved me in a lot of tough conversations as well. Providing fair opportunity for growth and development, also very important in establishing a healthy workplace culture. NOCO's motto essentially is, not only do we want to be the best job you've ever had, but we also want you to leave better than when you came in. Whether that is personal development, professional development, maybe we gave you some kind of opportunity to grow your skill set in a way. One of the great examples that I love bragging on her is Bree. If any of you have been at our Cumming location, you may have seen her around. She's 6 feet tall, gorgeous, but she started off as a bartender as well and had zero marketing experience, but just had a passion for learning more about marketing. She was very quickly promoted to a marketing manager at our Cumming location and has recently been promoted again to our branding and design manager for the entire organization. This girl had zero marketing experience 3 years ago. And we saw something in her, and to be completely honest, if I saw her resume come across my desk when I was hiring for that role, I wouldn't have taken a second look at it. But because we knew her and we knew what her strengths were and what her passions were, we were able to promote her. And we've actually, almost everyone in our management roles has been promoted in some way or another. So very awesome to be able to have a lot of internal promotion. But it's also just knowing your team and making sure that you know what they're passionate about and what they're able to really thrive in. So we kind of talked about what a healthy workplace culture means. So why does it matter? Why does it matter for organizations? Well, a company's culture is essentially a strategic asset that really fuels sustainable growth and success in a company. It doesn't matter the industry that you work in. Workplace culture is the foundation of your company, and you will hear me say that again later. NOCO's leadership team makes a decision that either that has to align with our core convictions, and I'll tell you what those are in a second. So if the opportunity does not align with our core convictions, we don't do it. It's that simple. So it's because of our culture that we have those guidelines to always go back to. And it's so easy to say no to things because we sit and we look, hey, does this serve our community? Does this give us an opportunity to deliver excellent hospitality? Is this a unique opportunity, like going international and being one of the first small American craft breweries to have beer and, overseas? Those are things that fit at least one of our core convictions. So it's very important to make sure that you have a strong foundation of your culture in order to make those decisions in the future. And it also just, as you continue to have leaders join your team and the table gets larger of the people that are making the decisions, if you have a very clear concept of this is what our culture, this is what we stand for, and this is the foundation of it, it's so much easier. And you don't get so many decisions where in 10 years, we still will know what our brand is because we have these core convictions as our foundation. And ultimately, your culture is felt by the employees. They're the ones that are really dealing with it. They're the ones that are really experiencing it. And the leadership team and the owners sometimes are at such a high level that they don't always understand how the culture is being perceived by your team. And also by your customers, by your vendors, by your patients, by your caregivers. So keeping employees happy is essential for your business. So I kind of want to give it up to you guys for a minute. We've talked about healthy culture. We've talked about what it looks like, why it matters. I'm interested to hear a little bit from you all about, what does it look like to you? What does a healthy workplace culture look like to you? Has the workplace culture of a company ever influenced your decision to either apply to a position or resign from a position? And finally, how has workplace culture impacted your experience as an employee or overall team dynamics? So I'll give you guys a few minutes. We'll take about 3 minutes. You can talk amongst yourselves, and then we'll come back as a group in a minute and we'll share what we've discussed.
I had a lot of fun doing it. I work at
I know, well.
Thank you. I'm from New Jersey. So we come from very, I think, well, yeah, more. Even though games are other good things, like the wine thing. I love Yeah, they are. Everything is really good about it.
Yeah, and I think it's because we started, and then into that. We always have well, there.
It's really good. I think these are just really good.
All right, guys. All right, everyone, I would love to be able to share. So hopefully, I know that was a very quick couple minutes, but hopefully you guys were able to share a few things. So what does a healthy workplace culture look like to you all? Anyone want to share? Oh, come on. Yeah.
Honestly, only got to questions 1 and 2.
Next time I'll give you more time.
So for question number 1, what does a healthy workplace culture look like to you? We all agreed that a work-life balance is very important at all levels. So being able to separate from work, know that things are taken care of when you go home and you can rest comfortably. You want to be able to reach out to your leadership team and get that support immediately. You want to be recognized for even the small contributions, even at the leadership level and down. And you want to focus on the small wins and not the negative all the time. You don't want to live in that world. And has your workplace culture of a company ever influenced your decision to apply or resign from a position? We all agreed that most of us all researched Northside before we came here, and we looked at the culture, and that is what brought us here.
Tell us your name and what you did.
Oh, sorry. My name is Joyce Bradford, and I'm the operations manager here at Forsyth over critical care.
Sure. Lovely. Thank you so much for sharing. Yeah, I totally agree. I definitely think that also having access to the leadership and being able to ask the questions is really important too. And all of those things really kind of go back to the trust within the team, between the team and the leadership, and making sure that everyone really believes in the values. So hiring with a good culture fit is also really important too. Anyone else want to share?
We'll say
Thanks, Dan. Say your name and who you're with.
Hi, I'm Danny Kazmarek, and I am the practice coordinator for Total Joint Specialists across campus here. I think the one thing that we look at from a healthy workplace culture is that we have very low turnover at our office, which is phenomenal. I think that's really great. We try to do a lot of fun activities where we're all involved, and that's kind of nice as well. And honestly, we have the best work-life balance, I'm not gonna lie, because our hours are what our hours are, and it doesn't extend beyond that. Even really for me, as the coordinator, very rarely do I get an after office or after hours call. So that's part of it. I would love to share with you personally the next one. Before I came to Northside, I worked for a plastic surgery office, we'll just put it that way, it was a one doc office, and his wife was very involved. It was a second wife, and needless to say, it was not a pleasant environment. And when I tell you I had PTSD when I left that place for 8 years, and that's not a lie. So that has definitely put into my mind everything I never want to be, I learned. And so anytime that I start to maybe think that I'm going overboard or I'm doing something, I look back on that experience and say, don't do it. It's not worth it. So I think that's actually been a positive and a negative. It made me leave, but it also made me grow.
So going from a one dog practice,
Yeah.
now talk about the stress.
Yeah.
Tell us how many roughly doctors, offices, and surgery centers.
Okay, so we have 16 surgeons, 23 mid-levels, 4 surgery centers, and 13 locations.
And
Now, I only manage one group of it, which is probably the largest, or it used to be anyway.
how many employees?
Oh, gosh.
Just coming.
Just coming, 68.
So going from that to
Yeah.
that, and
Yeah.
this is better.
But,
That's what I just.
so that speaks volumes. Kathy's not wrong.
Yes, that's definitely why culture is so important, because if it's toxic, like you said, you got PTSD from it. I had PTSD a little bit from my mental health job, getting out of that. My boss loves to say that I'm still detoxing sometimes from my previous job, because there are some decisions where I'm just like, wait, are you sure we can do this? Like, will people enjoy this? And it's like, Sarah, it's not rocket science. We're serving beer. It's not that important, it's fun. Anyone else like to share, and we can move on. Well, thank you so much for sharing. I appreciate it. Yeah, definitely. Culture impacts the employee experience so much, and it will make or break your team, and it will make or break the attraction that you have in the job market when people are looking. I mean, like this group said, you even research culture. That's one of the things that is really important now in the market that job seekers are looking for is, what is the culture like? Almost even more so than the compensation package, which kind of blows my mind a little bit. It's crazy.
I'm going to chime in too. If you guys notice, the audience is a little bit different today. So we do have people from our practices, employed and not. We have also management for practices here in the room. But we also have a lot of staff that are here in the hospital that falls under our Dr. Booker, who's our chief nursing staff. So this is a very important topic to us, not just outside, which is what we're trying to deliver you guys today, but it's super important for us on the inside as well. And Dr. Booker has put so much time and effort in focusing on our culture and our retention, and we thank you for that, Dr. Booker.
So essentially, cultivating and implementing culture. We've talked about why it matters. We've talked about what it looks like. So how do you implement it? And especially, how do you implement it or transform it if you're working in an organization where you do need some improvements in culture and you can make it stronger? So obtaining buy-in from your team is really important. Making sure that your team believes in the culture, because if they don't, they won't embody it and they won't represent it. Ultimately, your team are your frontline people. They're your frontline brand ambassadors, right? They're the ones that sometimes customers, vendors, whoever your audience is, patients, caregivers, families, sometimes your frontline employees are the only people that they interact with. So if they're not representing your culture and your brand well, then those people might not come back. So it's really important to make sure that you're doing a great culture hire, and it's a two-way street at that point as well. So not only do we want to hire people that are a great culture fit for us, but we need to be a good fit as a company for that person. Otherwise, it's not going to work. So additionally, establishing loyalty and trust. We've talked about that a lot. So I'll just kind of skip over that so that we kind of get through this. So developing a strong culture. I bet you guys thought I was going to hold out on you, but this is NOFO's culture. So this is one of the murals that we have in every team break room at all of our locations. Our marketing team did a great job with this design. But essentially, we call them core convictions because they're more than just values to us. We really want our team to live these out and embody them. So we have 5, great number to remember. Community, hospitality, unique, adventurous, and camaraderie. And we do have meanings for each of these things that we ask our team to learn. So if you want to do me any favors, you can go and quiz them on it and make sure that they can tell you and then report back. But community, hospitality, these are all things that hopefully if you have visited any of our locations, you have observed or witnessed. We really want to make sure that we're serving our community well with all of these things. And that, again, every decision we make aligns with one of, if not all, of these core convictions that we have. So essentially, what is the leadership's responsibility to scale the culture? NOFO created this culture and we were able to scale it in a matter of 6 years. And it started off being very intimate, I guess, for lack of a better word. So some of the things that we were able to execute as a small company with just 12 to 18 employees when I started in this role, we are not able to do now. So just to give you a quick example, I was, for every birthday, work anniversary, I was handwriting a birthday card. I was going to the store, purchasing a birthday card for every single person on our team, and then getting everyone on our team to sign it and write a note, and then also getting a customized gift for them. I cannot do that with 42 people. The groans that I heard when I would come around with 5 cards in 1 month to get everyone to sign was kind of insane. So we don't do that anymore. There are other ways that we do, other things that we do to make sure that our team feels valued. But writing handwritten cards is tough when you have a huge team with a lot of birthdays in the same month. So as a leadership team, you need to also be sure that you're unified and decisive, because nobody wants to work for a leader that cannot make a decision, or a group of leaders that are giving you contradictory decisions or explanations for why a procedure has changed. So again, that all goes back to the culture that you have and making sure that your team actually trusts you as a leader in an organization. And then also just, a captivating employer, again, built on authenticity, consistency, the employee experience, all of those great things. So I've already said this, I'll say it again, workplace culture really is the foundation of your company. It will determine the experience that your employees have and the experience that the people that you are serving in the community have of your brand. So it's very, very important. Making sure that consistency is key is also really important. NOFO's culture, the 5 core convictions that I just shared with you all, have never changed. We actually created those all together as a team. We didn't have that on day 1. We had that a couple months after. And Brian, Shannon, and Joe came to us. We had a team meeting with everyone present, and they said, hey, what words describe NOFO to you? You've been a part of the company so far. You've been interacting directly with the guests. You've been, in the atmosphere, in the environment that we have wanted to cultivate for the community. What are the 5 words or, few words that really describe it? And they came up with hundreds, to be honest. They cut them out and put them all on the table, and we're kind of, putting them all together and saying, yes, this absolutely community. That is why we're here. Hospitality, all the things. So making sure that your culture stays consistent as well. It can always evolve, it can always improve, but keeping it consistent is important. And one of the things that I think that NOFO personally does a really great job of is we never stop teaching our culture. So it's one thing if you, slap a mural on the wall with a bunch of core values, or you put it in your employee handbook and you go through it on onboarding. But if you never hear it again, and if you've worked for a company for several years and you forget these things, you forget what's important. So we have culture workshops every quarter, and we talk about, with our entire organization, we all get together, we talk about our culture, we ask, how can we improve it? What can we do differently? What are you guys experiencing? How do you perceive this? And especially since we have increased our headcount, we always want to make sure that the new team members know the intention behind each core conviction that we have, so that they really understand what are, how to execute it. Oh, that slide came out really dark. I apologize for that. So essentially the impact of your culture, retention versus turnover. So your top talent right now in the job market is looking for more than just compensation package. They value purpose and meaningful work. That's one of the top things that comes back with data. Positive workplace culture, of course, growth opportunities, a sense of belonging and camaraderie. Those are all things that job seekers are really looking for. And people in the job market now, it's changed a little bit. Previously, it was very standard for people to stay in the same position or with the same company for several years, decades even. But now people job hop, and that's because they don't like the culture. That's actually the number one reason why people change jobs, is because their employee experience is not ideal. So just something to consider: what increases employee retention? What is meaningful to your team? Always making sure that you're going back to your team and asking those questions and getting feedback for them is really important. So just real quick, here are a few things that NOFO offers. We are actually leading in the craft beer industry, especially with a brewery our size. I'm sure you guys wish that you could have free beer and spirits, but we offer that to our team members. But some of these other benefits I know are pretty standard for your typical industries, but I don't know any other craft brewery, one, that has their own HR director, but 2, also has a 401k program available, health benefits with employer contributions. We do financial literacy classes with Morgan Stanley, with very reputable companies. So a lot of professional developments. But the key here really is benefits should always evolve with your team as your company expands, your headcount expands, your company matures. If you're not changing your benefits and updating them and improving them and adding more, then your team will probably go find somewhere else, or if they are doing that. Oh, a camaraderie day, those are so fun. So last year, I learned a couple lessons, unfortunately with some workers' comp stuff, but we had beer Olympics, and we did it in our Cleveland location, and we have a lot of land up there, so we did flip cup slip and slide. And someone twisted an ankle, so never again, but it was really fun. He had a great time until he had to go to the doctor. We're gonna, sorry, you guys don't get to do the pop quiz, but we're gonna run through these red flags real quick, because I know I wanna be respectful of everybody's time. So what's next at NOVO? If you guys wanna check us out or come to any of our events, we do have a few coming up. Lagerfest is this weekend at Cumming. We also have Lagerfest next weekend at Gainesville location, and it's known as the chicken capital of the world. I think they want to keep that title even if it isn't accurate. So we're doing the Hot Wings Challenge, which is really fun. And then if anyone is fans of the show The Office, we do have a special trivia coming up as well. But you can find all of these things on our website or on our Instagram. If you're joining us virtually, I have put the links up there as well. And then I didn't get enough time, maybe this is for another time, but Owner is a really great company as well. Brian and Shannon, the two of the owners of NOVO, also have started this company. It's a nonprofit about businesses and how owners can set intentions and have great cultures, and it's a safe space. It's very collaborative. So if you guys are interested in that, I do have the QR code if you want to learn more about that as well. And anyone have any questions or anything? Are you guys still asleep? Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciated it, and I'll be around for a little bit if you guys want to come chat.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Sarah. That was a fantastic. I know I learned a lot, and I hope you guys did too. I want you guys to mark your calendars for me. So our next upcoming Practice Managers Roundtable will be on Thursday, September 4th. We had a great turnout last year for one that we did based on security and stuff like that. So we'll be joined by Dustin Patton, who is Northside Security Emergency Management Specialist. So we look forward to seeing y'all there. We'll get out some information for you guys to register for that event after this one. And then at this time, we are going to end our live stream, and we're going to grab our raffle. So thank you, live stream, for joining us. Now everyone grab your raffle ticket.